She was invisible. Slinging her backpack across her shoulder, she said a quick goodbye to her companions at the lunch table. Gathering her books in her arms, she stumbled to the front of the cafeteria, where she flashed her ID at the supervisor. With a curt nod, he ushered her past, and she stepped out into the hallway. Scattered thoughts raced through her mind as she quietly hummed Just the Way You Are to herself. All of a sudden, a herd of boys stampeded past her. A brown-haired member of the group knocked into her shoulders, causing her books to spill out of her arms. Without a backwards glance, he and his friends ran past her, laughing giddily. Such was her life. Being the new girl in town, she lacked the convenience of having known her fellow classmates since the time they waddled around with Pampers diapers loosely hugging their baby bottoms. As a naive freshman, she lacked the assertiveness to meet new people and establish long-lasting relationships with them. And as a newly minted middle school graduate, she still believed her peers to be as judgmental and immature as they were when they were in 6th grade. So she didn't much care to put any effort into dispelling that notion. She felt enveloped in this stifling loneliness, and she longed to return home to the familiarity of her hometown in San Diego. These were the thoughts that passed through her mind as she walked underneath the painted dome of the Gold Building as those rowdy boys dashed past her. When I say her thoughts, I actually mean my thoughts, as this loner freshman was in fact me, Anna Mathew. And on that autumn day of my freshman year, I did feel sullen and pessimistic about the integrity of my fellow classmates. But then something else happened. The last boy who passed me, a boy I had occasionally seen in middle school, but had never really known, turned around and said, "I'm sorry about my friend. Do you need any help with that?" I shook my head, picking up the last of my books, and thanked him. He smiled and turned around. That day, I realized that the boy's name was Julio. We would spend the next 2 years together in confirmation and are now in the same Spanish class. But that's not the most important thing. You see, Julio could have decided to keep walking. After all, I was merely another face in the cascade of faces that comprises the 4,000 strong student body of Neuqua Valley High School. But he did turn around, and he did ask a complete stranger if she needed help. That day, I realized that there were still good people in this world. If you had told me that earlier, I would have laughed bitterly and pointed out all the strife plaguing the world, all the words that people use to demean another person, all the events that occur that crush another person's dreams and topple their sandcastles. But even if these events do transpire, there is still redemption. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., there is evil in the best of us and good in the worst of us. And these peers that I believe to be the worst sort of people turn out to have a lot of good within them. All it took was for someone to take the time to turn around, for me to realize that. So I beseech you that not to feel overwhelmed if you're a witness to the beastly side of humanity. Take the time to look around you, and you'll find that there will always be a Julio to help you to your feet.